Heyo everybody, Haku here with this week's read-through for Magical Girl Raising Project or Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, ACES Chapter 5, Part 5. We're almost done. We're getting towards the end of this final chapter, which is like nearly book-length final chapter on its own. So yeah, for this one we're going to be starting off on page 58, and I'm going to go all the way to the end to page 74. We just finished with Snow White clashing on the rooftop with Dark Cutie. It was really, really cool in an action sense, really smartly written, just like the previous fight we saw between Michan and Ripple. And what was really, really cool about it was getting to learn more about Dark Cutie's character, seeing things from her perspective, delving more into her mental state. I think that generally the look at Dark Cutie's character was the best part of it for me. But from here we're going back to Premium Sachiko and Uluru, it looks like. And yeah, 58 to 74. We're starting on the beginning of page 58 with Premium Sachiko here. Hold on, here we are? Yeah. Premium Sachiko. Sachiko had never wanted to use her powers. In fact, she'd rather forget about anything related to her powers. Actually, she'd rather forget having those kinds of powers at all. But forgetting something that causes trouble is also a sin. So Sachiko can't forget. It's her duty not to forget it. She has to remember the horrible things that can be done because of her magical skill. Every night, when Sachiko was asleep with her two sisters, she'd be the one to scream out at night, waking up from a scared nightmare. Uluru would get mad and grumpy and start to yell at her too. It doesn't matter how many times Uluru got mad at her though, because Sachiko felt like it was small compared to what she was capable of. Sachiko's used her powers once. They resulted in bad things. She did those bad things. She caused those. People say that forgiveness is possible for any slight, that you're able to forgive for any kind of sin if the people had the heart for it. But what Sachiko's done isn't something normal, or even light. What Sachiko's done is unforgivable. The first time Sachiko used her powers, it was due to curiosity. It was always curiosity. That's what drives people to do things they otherwise wouldn't. Sachiko, Uluru, and Sarami became magical girls at around the same time. They were young children, and when they were taken in by Puck, they lived together. When they were younger, they started playing around with their magical skills. Uluru would blurt out outrageous lies, and she would laugh because people always seemed to believe them. Sarami would always show off that she can guess the contents of almost any box possible in the manor. But Sachiko wasn't allowed to use her power. Even then, Sachiko really didn't understand how her powers worked. It was harder to explain compared to her sister's powers. Fueled by your lifetime luck, you're guaranteed to be lucky for one thing in your life. How much luck can you pour? So many questions went unanswered for so long. Sachiko herself had to keep watching Uluru and Sarami playing with their magic, while she had to sit this one out. It's boring if Sachiko was told to stand there on the sidelines while Uluru and Sarami got to play with others, and she was so eager too. There were only a few things that Sachiko understood about her magic. She had to produce some kind of contract that the target would sign. That's all she knew, really. Back then, Sachiko, Sarami, and Uluru were together, and there were so many other children of her age as well, playing happily. All of them were magical girls. Puck would praise every one of them, boasting to everyone she knew about how powerful they were. Puck told them to be proud, be proud that they're magical girls, be proud of who they are and what they can become. And yet, those words, taken to heart, only raised questions about Sachiko's conditions. The other children were confused, and sometimes even scared of Sachiko. Some of them shunned her on principle. If you were supposed to be proud of your powers, why Sachiko not showing off hers? That's when Sachiko began displaying signs of shyness. She distanced herself, not by choice, but because she was the odd one out, the only magical girl that wasn't allowed to use her powers. While everyone was making friends, Sachiko was sitting it out in a corner alone. It took a while for Sachiko to actually make friends with someone, however some people did arrive. First Sarami, who gave Sachiko a chance, then Uluru, who also became close later on, her future sisters. They were her first few friends. They helped her make new friends too. After they became close and were taken in as sisters, Sachiko became a bit more open. She met two other girls who were kind enough to approach her for friendship. These magical girls played with Sachiko and got close to her. So you can't use your magic. Ah, that's too bad, Sachiko. Well, I can, but Lady Puck won't let me, said Sachiko. Then let's use it then. Yeah, let's try it out on us. We're good with it. But if I use it, Lady Puck will be mad at me, argued Sachiko. No, she won't. It'll be fine. We're okay with it, Sachiko. If Lady Puck's mad, we'll apologize together, okay? And I can already see how this is going to go poorly. Because I'm pretty sure from what she said earlier, her power must be, and maybe we've actually already heard what her power is, but I don't remember if we've specifically heard. But from what she said before, it seemed like she's able to have a person sign a contract, and then for something that they're signing the contract for, they'll use up their lifetime of luck on that. But the downside, of course, being probably that once you have no luck at all after that, you're probably going to die pretty quickly. So, it's interesting. It's like a last-ditch effort for one thing you want in life. But this is going to go poorly for her friend, sadly, I would assume. And so, Sachiko, whose fears were calmed by the words of her two friends, decided to give it a shot. Sachiko didn't really have any big ideas since she was still a little kid. So the other two children just wrote whatever they wanted to test their luck. Apparently, only a few days later, they got their wish in the contract. By some sheer amount of luck, they managed to do what they thought was impossible. Sachiko's magic worked, and Sachiko was happy for that. The two and Sachiko continued on their daily lives. That is, until the day came when Sachiko realized the other half of her magic. One day, home from school, one of Sachiko's friends was suddenly hit by a falling meteorite. There was news of a meteor shower, but none were expected to hit the atmosphere. At about the same time, her other friend, who was in a library, was suddenly killed when a train came crashing through the walls. Nobody on the train died, only Sachiko's friend. Their last moments of their lives were like some kind of gag comedy. It's something you'd put in the headlines of the Weird Deaths corner of the newspaper. To someone who didn't know these people, they might laugh at how ridiculous the deaths were. To Sachiko, however, these deaths were caused by her and her alone. They were also people close to her, so she can't exactly laugh it off. She killed her friends. She was warned not to use her magic, but she did it out of curiosity, and now her friends are dead. Even if Lady Puck told her it's not her fault, they still died because they used Sachiko's magic. There's no denying that. When Sachiko used her magic, people will die. It's better if Sachiko never does her magic in the first place. On the way back home, Uluru and Sachiko had been endlessly arguing. Well, it was more like Uluru shouting at her, while Sachiko tried to explain that she didn't want to do the ritual. They're now separated from Snow White, but still together once more. You know, Sachiko, you should believe in Lady Puck. She does care about you. Don't listen to any other girls, okay? Said Uluru. I don't. I know Lady Puck cares. I still don't want to do it. Why? Because it doesn't matter what they'll use me for. When I do my magic, I kill people. There's no exceptions to that, said Sachiko again with a defeated voice. Puck told me that the ritual involves some kind of machine, not a person. Your powers work for anything, as long as they sign the contract, right? Machines dying don't matter, Sachiko. I just don't want more people to die, said Sachiko. Uluru sighed, but she did not, and she stopped in her tracks. Okay, I understand, said Uluru. She grabbed Sachiko's shoulders and gripped them tight. How about this? When we get home, I'll ask Lady Puck about the ritual. I'll ask if it's safe for you. I'll ask if there's any risk involved. If there's any chance of risk, then I'll take your side, okay? I'll oppose, said Uluru. You don't have to. I might get in trouble, but if it eases your fears, it's worth it. I don't want you to get in trouble because of me, said Sachiko. You're my sister, Sachiko. My job's to protect you. That's what I'm doing. I don't care who's on the other side. If they want to hurt my sisters, they'll have to go through me, said Uluru. I hate the sound of that. Sachiko was stunned. Uluru smiled. I'm sorry about earlier. It's just Sarami and everything. I had a lot on my mind. I understand, said Sachiko. Don't ever think that I don't love you, okay? You're my family, and that's what matters to me, Sachiko. So let's go home, okay? We'll think about this later, said Uluru. What if it really is dangerous? Where do we go? Asked Sachiko. We have Snow White. If the ritual really is dangerous, we can go with her for the time being. Sachiko looked at her sister. She smiled, feeling safe, and nodded. Oh man, I'm feeling the death flags. Not feeling good about that. Not feeling good about that at all. But now we're at the Uluru section toward the end of page 63? Yes. End of page 63. Uluru. Uluru sent a text message to Puck Puck. She explained that she and Sachiko were now traveling back home and that they're okay. She told her that they're separated from Snow White a bit, but last they saw her, she was okay. Uluru waited for a reply. It came almost immediately. The reply mostly expressed how Puck Puck is glad they're safe. Puck Puck's face came to Uluru's mind. Her chest began to hurt. Uluru was gravely worried about Puck Puck. She served Puck Puck for many years, and Puck Puck cared for her even longer. She wanted to repay her debt to her, for taking her in. Uluru hoped that Puck Puck would be able to speak with them again. Oh, how she wanted to hear Puck Puck's beautiful voice again. But luxuries like that will only shorten their lifespan. They have to be realistic, not romantic. Uluru had already made a plan for outrunning the potential kidnappers of Premium Sachiko, a secret hideout by the beach, a local warehouse. Snow White was never told of this location, but Uluru knew Snow White could find out with her powers. Snow White should have already picked up on Plan B far before they were jumped by Dark Cutie. She would have read Uluru's mind. She would have known where to go. No communications means nobody but them knew about their hideout. At least Uluru hoped so. That's very, very smart. Except that's very, very smart, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think that. I was wondering if CQ Angel Hamuel could sort of get in their minds and figure that out, but no, CQ Angel Hamuel is mostly only speaking to people, not really necessarily taking information from them, I think. So maybe not. We'll have to see, though. I'm not quite sure how far the scope of CQ Angel Hamuel's powers could be effective in that situation, but we'll see. Local warehouse, Snow White with her powers, okay. Okay, Snow White should have already picked up on Plan B far before they were jumped by Dark Cutie. She would have read Uluru's mind. She would have nowhere to go. No communications means nobody but them knew their hideout. At least Uluru hoped so. Alright. Either way, the next step was the hideout from any other magical girls. If Snow White shows up in their hideout, that's good to know. If not, then they'll have to continue on their own. Uluru and Sachiko took the back alleys, the streets that weren't seen by anyone, the sneaky pathways. Sometimes they would hop on the train tracks, sometimes they'd hitch a ride in the back of a truck. Either way, they need to get to their destination without moving too quickly and without anyone seeing them. Finally, they reached the safe house, a warehouse that was marked D82. The smell of the sea filled the air, and the quietness of the night sky signaled that nobody was even around. Uluru opened the door in the warehouse, and then she invited Sachiko inside. Puck Puck's message told her to retreat to one of the safe houses. She also said that there'd be no reinforcements coming despite her best efforts. Uluru was a bit disappointed, but she understood. At the very least, Puck Puck's hold on W City was vast. This was her territory, so a lot of the locations here are usable for her faction. It's interesting, though, that they really can't get any more backup. As important as Puck Puck is, and important as Sachiko is to this ritual, it's strange how much Puck Puck has seemingly struggled to get help for them, but wasn't able to. Unless Puck Puck is sketchy, but I don't believe she is, or at least I very much don't want to believe she is. Sachiko lied down on the floor. She was tired. Take a rest, said Uluru. Yeah, okay. Not too shabby, right? I mean, it's not Puck Manor, but we'll make it our temporary home for a while at least. What do we do now? We wait. If Snow White shows up, we can regroup. She's the fighter in our group, so she'll handle those things. Do you think she's okay? Uluru nodded. Yeah, I think she can handle herself, she reiterated. Several minutes later, a knock appeared on the door. The knock was the same knock that Uluru worried about in her head. Snow White. She opened the door and saw Snow White outside. Uluru nodded, and Snow White nodded back. After entering the warehouse, Uluru locked the door shut. Snow White decided to stay. It seems like she really hasn't abandoned them. That's good. When she entered the warehouse, Snow White didn't even spend a moment for rest. She began to think about their next move. Suddenly, Snow White's eyes widened. She seemed to stop moving. Her head was looking around. Uluru was confused, but perhaps she detected someone. Here we are. CQ Angel Hammer. And see, I don't know if it's Hammer or Hamuel, because I thought I saw when I looked at the blog post, I thought that said Hammer too. So if anybody in the comments knows, is Hammer proper or is it Hamuel? I kind of prefer Hamuel, but either way, CQ Angel Hamuel or Hammer. I'm just going to say hammer because it's going to be too difficult to replace the word in my brain on short notice reading through this. Hammer was thinking. Over and over again she was thinking. She kept thinking for the entirety of this whole situation, forced into a corner with limited resources. At times she was already prepared to give up. However, giving up was never an option for Hammer. Now I'm gonna have to say Hamuel. Hammer just doesn't feel right for me. W City has presented Hamuel with one of the greatest military puzzles she's ever faced. Still, Hamuel knows her limits. There are things that are possible, and there are things that are just impossible or downright suicidal. With the number of Shufflin she has now, there's little she can do for military advance. She had already resigned that option thanks to a certain magical girl, the Shufflin Hunter from Hell. They say the lowest layers of Hell were filled with ice, and this magical girl has an ungodly amount of hatred for the Shufflin, so much so that she'd risk anything just to kill them. Obviously impossible to negotiate with, Hamuel found out too late. All she can do is give instructions to the essential Shufflin to run away, but even then she couldn't save all of them again. The enemies of Vosk have overrun W City. There's no place for Hamuel to seize control anymore. It's already impossible to secure a victory from a position like this, but there might still be a way to secure the objective. Premium Sachiko can still be eliminated, or at least taken away from the Puck faction. There's no way Hamuel is going to return to Osk with this failure. She'll lose her head, literally. And see, this is interesting, because Osk, of course, is Grimheart, so this would again make you think Grimheart has to still be alive. Unless it's a new Osk after Grimheart's death, but I doubt it. I think it's still Grimheart. If she can't bear fruit here, the least she can do is sow seeds for the future. She rocked in her chair, and she got up, floating across to the rooftops. Night has fallen, and the headlights of cars can be seen as they scatter across the streets. One of the surviving Shufflin reported to her on the rooftops, and Hamuel nodded, dismissing her. She picked up her radio. Who to contact, what to say. She swung her feet down as she sat on the edge of the rooftop. She turned it on. Her target, Snow White. She'd seen her before from a distance using her binoculars back at the amusement park, hence she can set her frequency to her. The only problem is what to say. She brought the microphone close to her mouth. Hello? Hello? Come in. Can you hear me? Of course she can. Hamuel's magic guarantees that she can. She can hear her no matter where she is or how far she is. Right now I'm speaking into your head. Don't bother looking around for me. Also, I can't actually see you, unfortunately. It's a lot better to speak when you know what the other party's reactions are. Hamuel chose her next words carefully. I'm the general that's leading all the Shufflins in W City. Oh, before you get alarmed, don't worry. There's no Joker involved, so you don't have to worry about restocks. She had to calm any worries Snow White might have. Hamuel wished she could see Snow White now. She had no idea what Snow White's reactions are to her words, so she couldn't gauge what to say next. And it's interesting, too, that she's probably far enough away that Snow White can't read. Like, Snow White's hearing these words, but Snow White's probably used to being able to use her power to hear what's really in people's hearts as she's negotiating. But now Snow White has to negotiate without being able to use her power to hear the worries of Hamuel. So that's very interesting. So she couldn't gauge what to say next. She just had to rely on intuition and goodwill. This is my magic. I can communicate telepathically to someone. Even if you close your ears, I can still talk because my voice is transmitted to your head. Also, in case you're talking in there, I can't hear you. Unfortunately, my magic only goes one... Okay, so it does only go one way. I want to make one thing clear to you. I mean you no harm, said CQ. This wasn't a lie. Hamuel didn't like telling lies. Lies are easy to detect by anyone with the skills to detect them. Hamuel truly didn't plan on fighting Snow White this day. Hamuel also knew who she was dealing with, the magical girl hunter. Talking with her made Hamuel a little nervous, thanks to her track record. However, this was necessary. Actually, I wanted to offer an alliance the other day. I was thinking of potential candidates to do so, and you were one of them. Unfortunately, it's impossible now. I've decided to withdraw. With my strength, there's no way for me to win without dying. My bosses won't like it, but I'll think of something. Hamuel already gave her background information. Now she was getting to the point of it all. I know that you were crucial to defeating Grimheart. In case you don't know, Grimheart was the current incarnation of the Osk faction's leader, Shada Osk Valmer. That's actually quite impressive, if I do say so myself. Her defeat also provided us with valuable data. Thinking about Grimheart, despite being her leader, Hamuel couldn't help but despise her. Everything she did was reckless and beyond stupid. She may be their leader, but she's definitely not fit to be one. Still, she was powerful, and actually defeating her is another task entirely. So, when Hamuel heard that someone defeated Grimheart, she'd be the first one to keep track of that person. Ask's incarnation as Grimheart was meant to have the ability to ignore those she deems rude. Her ability negates everything, unless she chooses not to. This incarnation was specifically created to counter a specific magical girl. That magical girl's name is Puck. Hamuel had seen Snow White belonged with the Puck faction now. However, Snow White had no history of being in the Puck faction before. According to her sources, it was temporary employment. I'm loving this lore that we're getting here. This info dumping. I think it's best I explain to you in detail. Since the beginning, there were times when the three sages were either cooperating or at war with each other. Their factions are each equipped with powerful magical girls who lead them. Those magical girls would sometimes come into conflict and would send representatives whenever they negotiated something. After all, no sage wants to be caught in the open with the real body. Incarnations aren't something easy to achieve. They require time and resources. However, the Puck faction never sends negotiators on their behalf. Instead, they send their real leader, Puck herself. Hamuel paused for a bit. She began breathing a bit rapidly. She remembers this part of the tale very well. Every time we send someone to negotiate, they come back and Puck faction gains more than what we do. We always get the short end of the stick, and our negotiations always say it's a fair deal. They speak highly of Puck as well. I should know this, because... Hamuel rubbed her eyes and her forehead. That image appeared in her head again. I was once sent to negotiate with Puck. I saw her. I saw her with my own eyes. What I saw changed me. She looked so innocent and pure, and almost everything she said was filled with kindness. It was surreal. And again, with the way that Puck dressed all up and laid down in the car as to not cause any sort of wrinkles or anything, I think that Puck's power has something to do with that sort of perception. Hamuel still remembered Puck's face. Hamuel never thought anything bad about her, but when she saw Puck for the first time, she understood why the negotiators were so willing to give her more, because even Hamuel thought that Puck deserved it. Her beautiful face and voice brought happiness to her, and she had the kindest smile that anyone could see. Hamuel shook her head. We've tried, thousands of times. We've negotiated with her tens of thousands of times. I even volunteered because I wanted to see her again. Every single time we lose more than we gain. We finally concluded that her magical skill is to twist the impressions of others. That was our hypothesis. How did Snow White react to this? Hamuel wondered, but continued speaking again. It doesn't matter how much slander you hear of her, or how rude you think she is. Once you see her, it's over. Her magic activates on your sight. Every word she says to you, you feel like you're being praised. You feel like you're being honored. You'll adore her. You'll grow to love her. That's why we could never win. That's why she always had the upper hand in these meetings. Even if you were her worst enemy, once you see her, you'll be her closest friend. And that kind of explains Ularu's devotion a bit more. Hamuel didn't want to remember her face, but she did sometimes. Her feelings were real, so it's not as simple to forget. What did Snow White think now? If Snow White saw her, then would she even listen to a word Hamuel said? Hamuel was from an enemy faction. It'd be easy just to dismiss her entirely. Hamuel shook her head again. The scary part is, it's not just her powers. She puts work into it, too. Her words, her actions, her kindness is only amplified by her powers. She feels nothing but love for her subjects, but at the same time, that's why I know your powers won't work against her. Reading her mind, you'll only find caring words. You'll only solidify your trust with her, said CQ. And I love this, how we're getting into an enemy, well, possibly an enemy, that's so fully mental. Like, it's not some big bad enemy that Snow White would have to fight. It's just a person who might be good, might be bad, but the scary thing is, you'll never know because of the way they get into your head. So I think that's such an interesting concept. A shufflin approached her. Hamuel nodded, signaling that it was time to withdraw for the time being. That's why I tell this to you now. Be careful. Any empathy, any trust you have in Puck, that may be caused by her magic. I know this can be hard to take in. I don't fully know if what I feel for her is real or not either, but please, don't make any rash decisions. I really like this. This sets up Hamuel as being interesting for the future. Hamuel heard the footsteps of the Shufflins. They were ready to go. Oh, right, I almost forgot. I wanted to tell you that many of the other people after Sachiko have retreated too. Think of this information as a sign of goodwill. I'm also withdrawing myself. 3 Shufflins approached Hamuel. Hamuel looked at them, nodding, walking along with them as they withdrew. So it's interesting. Now the people that had been hired have withdrawn, and now Hamuel and the Shufflin are withdrawing. So now it's basically just going to be the only people after Snow White's group is really going to be Deluge and Ripple, and that's the scary part. So this is interesting. This is really interesting. Think of this information as a sign of goodwill. I'm also withdrawing myself. Okay, I read the paragraph after that. Oh, and Snow White. If at all, in the future, you need assistance, the Osk faction welcomes you. I was in it for the cause, not the process. Grimheart was a mistake. I hated her. I know what she did may leave you with a bad impression, and I know I probably can't change that, but you have my assistance, both myself and the Shufflins I command, should you ask for it. Hamuel closed the communications. I really, really like this. This is really cool. How Snow White, seemingly first impressions, Puck-Puck's faction is great, and it seems like Sachiko and Sarami and Uluru are really great people, but on the other hand, Grimheart was terrible, but we don't know about the rest of the Osk faction. This is really, really cool. This story is so well written. Hamuel told the truth. Hamuel hated lies. It was easier for her to tell the truth. Nobody had to be deceived. Right now, Snow White may have already been under the effects of Puck-Puck's powers, but the seeds of doubt are enough to question their reality. Puck-Puck's powers can't be said to be mind control. It's a form of empathy generation. Your feelings for her are real, and her actions support your feelings for her. Thus, Hamuel still has a hard time talking about Puck-Puck. Conflicting feelings of longing and the knowledge that it all may be caused by her powers make it difficult. It wasn't easy. It never is. I love this, too. How Hamuel is like, I really genuinely think Puck-Puck is a good person and care about them. But I also have this doubt that they're a good person because my feelings that they're a good person might just be caused by their powers. It's so good. But even Hamuel knew that something was off. W City's Puck-Puck's territory. Why hadn't she sent reinforcements at all? Withdrawals of other forces also made Hamuel on guard. Perhaps the time to team up with Snow White will be sooner, rather than later. Alright, now we're at page 72 with Snow White, and I think this is probably going to be our last section for this video. Snow White. The voice disappeared. What that voice said? Can Snow White believe it? She doesn't know anything about that voice, nor does she know anything about their true intentions. Snow White's always relied on her powers to know a person's true thoughts and feelings, but if what they say is true, Snow White couldn't even trust her own powers. Man, this is so well written, this is so good. But even so, Snow White had read the hearts of all the magical girls in the mansion, and even Uluru, Sarami, and Sachiko outside of Puck-Puck's manor. Also, Uluru, Sarami, and Sachiko both personified what they believed to be Puck-Puck's teachings. Sarami especially, who believed in the good of others, based on what Puck-Puck has taught her. That was the one thing that solidified Snow White's trust in all of them. Snow White was disappointed in herself. If that was truly a lie, she didn't need to be her old self. She didn't need to be naive. It reminded her of how it cost someone their life. But Snow White wasn't naive. She made sure. She was certain this time. The magical girls in the mansion, based on what their fears are, based on their worries, almost none of them were about Puck-Puck. But is that a side effect of Puck-Puck's magic? What was she supposed to believe? Of course, the voice had some logic. Puck-Puck definitely tripped Snow White's alarms, but it settled after she found out everyone believed she was a kind and caring person. But now that she thought about it, why weren't there any reinforcements? Didn't Puck-Puck want Sachiko back? Sorry, hiccup. Puck-Puck definitely wanted Sachiko back. Regardless of whether or not she felt about Sachiko, she was worried about Sachiko not returning, which would mean that she wanted her back. So why not send reinforcements? Did something happen to her, or was something else in play here? For the longest time, Snow White had been troubled by her own feelings. She thought she could keep her emotions under control by suppressing them. She didn't want to lose control again. Was everything she felt all this time a lie? It can't be. She still trusted Puck's faction, but she couldn't help but to look closer. Snow White held her armband tightly. Not again. She's not going to be swept by emotions and false hope again. She had to look at everything from the facts, piece together what's wrong and what's correct. If she opens herself up, then it'll be worse if the same thing happens. Snow White looked at Sachiko. Ever since Snow White arrived here, Premium Sachiko had been silent. Sachiko was shorter in stature than Snow White. She would crouch down, hiding herself from everyone else. It was this way in the amusement park as well. Sachiko didn't want to be in the ritual. Snow White chalked this off to fear and uncertainty, but come to think of it, what exactly was the ritual? Nobody in Puck's faction questioned it, other than Sachiko, who ran away. Puck herself said that nobody would be sacrificed. There won't be any deaths this time, so why is Sachiko afraid? Was she afraid due to cowardice, or was it because she sensed that something was wrong? "You okay, Pon?" asked a voice from her side. "I'm fine, Fall," replied Snow White. "You sure? You kinda look a little out of it," said Fall. "I'm fine." Snow White didn't have time for doubts. Time's a limited resource. If she didn't hurry, Dark Cutie might come back. For now, Snow White had to stick to the original plan and not think about it too much. Alright. And that is the end for this time. We have 2 more videos, I would assume, until we're done with this. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I really loved this. Like I said, I love how Puck as a potential enemy is so much more about the mental side of things, and how things with Hamuel, Snow White can't tell if what she was saying was true, and things with Puck, how Snow White's power, we're seeing a weakness to that. Snow White's power has been so creative and written so well, but now we're seeing powers that are making it so that Snow White is a little bit helpless. So it's really cool. I really like the depth with how that was written, and I actually really liked Hamuel's character, because Hamuel genuinely actually seemed like a good person, even though they're from the Ask faction. And we can't know if Grimheart is still alive, if there's still the incarnation, if there's a new incarnation, or how the incarnations even really work. So it's so interesting. It's so good. But either way, I'm going to end this one now. It's so well written. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's part of the chapter, what you thought of my thoughts and reaction and all that. Subscribe for more Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. If you'd like a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, just ask and I can give you a link. It's free and open for anyone. And if you'd like to help support the channel to keep it so that I can continue to make these videos week to week, then doing so on Patreon would be super helpful. Don't worry if you can't. Any amount is helpful, but even no amount, just knowing that you watched and enjoyed the video is good enough for me. More than good enough. But yeah, if you do want to help support the channel, though, it's patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.